Hey subscribers, working on the 1903 6 horsepower Ohio today. The igniter is extremely sloppy, so I'm going to remove it and rebuild it. The igniter is removed and my plan is to take it apart and probably make a new shaft for the movable point and bore this out with an oversized shaft to take up the slop. See what it looks like when we get it apart. So I got the igniter all apart, and lucky for me, this piece is replaceable, so I'll have to make a new one of these. This is what the movable point rode in and seated against to seal the air from leaking out under compression. There's a bushing inside the trip arm, and this will have to get bored down, get a bushing put in so it'll wallowed out. So it'll be a fun little machine project. So I TIG welded in that groove that was worn into this piece, and I'll grind it down with a flapper disc. It should look pretty good. The rest of it looks to be in good shape, aside from needing a bushing in there, which is a piece of cake. And here it is, all ground down and cleaned up. You can see the side, just how far down it was worn in. So when I put it back together, I'll put a nice washer on there, so I don't have to worry about wear. Let the washer wear out. I'm turning the new movable point shaft right now. Here's my new igniter shaft. I ended up threading this end and facing that off. And I took the original one, and before I cut it, I chucked it up in the lathe, faced that end, drilled a hole in it, then I threaded it, faced this side off. So now it screws on, and look at that. I'll take it and TIG weld that end up, and it'll be good to go. Still got to put this notch in it for the taper pin. That's why I haven't welded this yet. You remember this piece was a little wallowed out, so I made a bushing and put it in and TIG welded it in place, redid the taper pin hole, so that's tightened up. On the lathe I turned a new bushing. As you can see, that one's pretty wallowed out, so I made a new one up, put the oil hole in, and now it's lined up because I drilled right through it. Now the shaft fits nice and tight. I just finished turning this piece on the lathe. This is the old one. I think somebody replaced this at some point because I can see hacksaw marks on both sides. I'll have to use a bolt or something. I don't know what they did. But I put an oil hole in that. New seat on that side. And now the igniter shaft lines up nicely with the points. Nice and tight, no slop. And here it is, all assembled. Works like a charm now. Nice and tight. So I'm gonna install it on the engine and see how it works. Well, I think the engine's happy with the new igniter, or rebuilt igniter rather. Still leaks a little bit. I think I just gotta seat in a little. Well, I'm going to shut this thing down because it's getting pretty smoky in here. But if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you later.